Keith Blanchard guy, I would say, well, he's a guy that has many talents. You won't know them all at first, but you don't know anything at first. But over time, you'll become to know a friendly soul, an honest soul, good daddy, talented musician. And he wrote a pretty great book. You know, the Divine Principle is a pretty awesome read.
Couldn't do it in one word. A nut. Of course, we're all nuts, but he's a coconut. No, God, you know, always been a great friend, you know. Just a joy, you know, to be around, you know, for me.
Descriptive word for Keith may be outrageous. He's got a
enigma.
Yeah.
Keith is a positive person. He's the kind of guy who you come to him with a problem, and rather than just give you a flat-out solution in a general guy type of way, he figures out a way for you to redirect your energies to come to the conclusion on your own.
Keith is sort of a spiritual Napoleon, a little guy that's ready to conquer and has the passion and drive that sometimes exhausts the rest of us.
I would say energy.
Energy. That's what you've seen it.
In 1996, after a night of playing music and a bad relationship, I was living my life with heart pangs. It was dark. I was awakened out of my sleep by a voice.
Good morning, Keith.
And it was God's voice. And people often ask me, how do you know it was God's voice? Well, for me, the question is pretty silly. How can you not know when the absolute of the universe is speaking to you?
It's time for you to wake up.
I was awakened out of my sleep, and I was thrown into the light. And I'm grateful. And the voice begins to instruct me to write down my thoughts, my feelings, and life experiences. And for 8 years, this started taking shape in a book that I've written called The Divine Principle. My favorite place to be is with my little boy. Take off. Show Daddy where you want to go. Go to your favorite place. Go to the park. I'm going to come too. Can I come? You better hurry because I'm going to get you. You better hurry because I'm going to get you. Hey, Sky, look over here. Can you sing a song for me?
Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Up above the wheel so high, the diamond in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little, how I wonder what you are.
That was awesome, little man. Later in life, I found myself still pursuing a spiritual path. 8, 9 years old, I was an altar boy. I grew up Catholic. And about 14, 15, I was seriously thinking of becoming a Catholic priest. My dad puts the guitar in front of me, and so bye-bye spirituality. So I lived the life of a musician. I didn't think at the time that my music and my spirituality were compatible, and I began to realize over a course of many years that they were actually the same entity. And when I started putting these two together, my life, my path, it started to unfold. But I think what spawned the Divine Principle was a set of questions that existed inside of me ever since I was a little boy. There were 4 basic questions. Where did I come from? Why am I here? Who am I and where am I going? And though these questions ever since I was a boy wanted an immediate gratification, an answer, little did I realize they became the unfoldment of my life. If you find yourself wanting to connect with Source in a conscious way, and what you are doing is not working, you have to stop doing those things. If there are things that you are not doing, maybe you should incorporate those things. And I think the divine principle sheds light on things that you should be doing, could be doing, to help you become consciously connected. There are certain techniques, there are certain rituals, but most important, one has to become clear. You have to learn how to go inside of yourself and remove blocks, that which is stopping the soul's light. You know, the deepest fear you have is the first filter that stops the soul's light from coming through. And so all fear is basically just walls, obstacles. You can't go around them, you can't go over them, you have to go through them. And in so doing, you disassemble the block, and then the energy starts to move. And next thing you know, you become a little intuitive, and then you become more intuitive, and then you start seeing things as the unity that it is, and you start taking responsibility in such a way that anything that ever happens to you, you see it as an expression of yourself. Love yourself, enjoy your life, live your passion. If everyone would live their passion, there would be peace in the household, and that would become the base, and everybody would build off of that. You would not come home stressed from work and then take it out on your loved ones who live in the house with you. Imagine this in a neighborhood level, city level, national level, global level. The world could literally shift overnight. It's a simple dream, but it can happen.
You know, Keith, it's interesting. While you're speaking, an enormous barge is passing by, and we see that while this river is flowing, it's a benefit of transport to so many things and networking of so many supplies and distributions. How is it a person can tell that the source is really flowing in their life?
Very good question. Synchronicity, when life begins to happen in such a way that it becomes one of least effort. You know, you have an intention for something grand in your life, something magical, something spectacular, and you get a phone call out of nowhere. Or you run into someone that you haven't seen in years that you were talking about day before yesterday. It may not be that the person or the manifestation is the message. Maybe the fact that the synchronicity happened in and of itself is the message. That the higher language, the higher reality is just trying to get your attention. So, you know, now we got your attention. It's just about being present, which creates an awareness, a hyper awareness. You know, just because you and I are having this conversation, I see the cameraman, I see the trolley, I hear the boat behind me. So I'm expanding myself by using not only my senses, my peripheral senses. And so training yourself to use these faculties, you can begin to recognize things you would have not before. So for me, it's now easy to see when I'm in the flow. You're either in the flow or you're not. You can call it what you like. There's only a source of well-being in the universe, and you're either in that flow or not.
Keith, could you advise people who sometimes get frustrated with so many different passions? I know you're writing, you're creating music, you're raising a son. Any advice on how to prioritize passions, what to do when passions seem to conflict so that you can live your passion without a collision course?
Sure. I understand the transition of practicality to jumping off the cliff. I mean, some people do it with absolute faith and they do it nicely. And some people do it and it's a disaster. And I'm not trying to put fear into anybody, but you need to check yourself. You know, do you really believe that you can fly? If you do, by all means jump. But it doesn't mean that you can't jump off the cliff with a glider. You can still fly. You may need a little apparatus, some training wheels, but still jump and still jump into your passion. One thing about living your passion, you can't live your passion laced with fear. It's not your passion. You doing it laced with fear is just going to create that in your life. You have to be passionate about living your passion. And it's, you know, I can tell you all day long how to do it. I can only show you the door. You have to open it. right, we're on world famous Beale Street. The goal today is to walk around and ask people if they're doing what they love for a living. I play on Beale Street all the time. A couple years ago, that's all I ever did was play Beale Street, up and down the strip. People from all over the world come to Beale Street. Beale Street being the birth of the blues, so I guess people like the blues. Here's some blues here now. I have lots of friends who play here on Beale Street. Beale Street's a cool place, it's fun. Late at night on the weekends, it gets a little rowdy, a little crazy, but overall it's a good place to be.
Carrie Cummings. You know, I
Hi,
do
Carrie.
all the events now and marketing for the street of all of Beale Street.
Wow, that's a big responsibility.
Yes.
They're paying you?
They are, of course.
What you deserve?
Yes. Very much so.
So you're loving what you're doing? And how long have you been doing this actually?
Since September, since we closed the bar, they asked me to come over here, so that's what I did.
Are you living your passion, Chris?
I'm getting there.
Getting there? Chris is a piano player, keyboard player for the house band here called the King Bees. Fantastic.
Actually, I play with Carl Drew.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not with the King Bees.
Oh, my bad.
That's all right.
So how's things going for you?
Good.
So music is your passion, correct?
Yes.
And you're earning a living at it?
Yes.
So you're living the dream?
Yeah.
Do you see yourself happier now that you've made the shift completely from kind of wanting to be a musician and dabbling into full-fledged?
Absolutely.
Wow. You feel better inside, your health is probably better, all as a result of you being present and connected to passion.
Absolutely.
The reason we're talking to you is we want to find out what you do for a living.
Dental hygienist.
Do you like it?
Yes.
Is this what you would be doing if you had all the money you needed? If you had no need for money, you would wake up every morning excited to be a dental hygienist?
Yep.
Impressive.
Yep. Very happy.
The video is called Living Your Passion.
Oh,
And you'd
yeah.
be surprised how many people worldwide are not doing that.
Oh no,
Because
very happy.
yeah, exactly. And they feel they can't eke out a living because living their passion. Because I've had people tell me that they want to play with flowers, but they can't do that. I said, well, you go argue with the florist down the street.
Hi.
I just want to ask you, what do you do for a living?
I'm a computer technologist.
Computer technologist. Do you like what you do?
I do.
Do you really? Awesome. What do you do?
Just housekeeping. Just a housewife.
Housekeeping. The documentary we're doing is on people living their passion, asking people do they like what they do for a living. And the reason we're doing the video is because most people I found don't do what they love, and life is pretty bad for them. So there's no happiness. So you love what you do. You would do it every day just because, even if money was not involved.
Well, it's not much money, so yeah.
Well, fantastic.
I guess so.
That's fantastic.
And I live exactly where I want to live and exactly the house I want to live in, so I'm very happy.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you.
And thank you for talking with us. We appreciate it greatly. What's your name, my friend?
I'm Sonny J.
And what do you do?
I want to build streets and story, and I want to give information about the street and the downtown and surrounding areas.
So you give information to the tourists about Beale Street?
Not necessarily just tourists, anybody
Anybody
that doesn't know where they want to go, what they want to do, things of this nature.
So
I'm
here's the
58
big
years old.
question. Do you like what you do?
I can't think of anything I would rather be doing other than getting paid for some of this information.
What if there was no money involved?
I'd do it.
What would you do? This?
I would do it anyway, because there's a lot of people that don't really know Beale Street, that really needs to know more about Beale Street. They just come down and take pictures of just the life, but they don't really know any of the history of Beale Street. So I enjoy giving people
So you're actually an important man to this area.
Not
You're keeping the spirit of Memphis and the history of music here alive.
I do my very best, yeah.
Steve, how are you? Keith Blanchard.
Judy.
Hi, Judy. This documentary is about living your passion. What do you do for a living?
Retired.
Wow. So
Living my
you're living your
living
passion.
my passion.
What did you do back when?
Engineer work.
Did you like it?
Worked at nuclear power plants.
Wow.
5 of them.
That's that strange feeling. I'm feeling that glow.
No, I work until they load the fuel and I leave.
So did you like what you did back then?
Yeah.
Really? And what do you do?
I do a lot of work with domestic violence, battered women and children.
Wow, you're making a difference then.
Try to.
You like what you do, obviously.
I love what I do.
And so you would do that if money was not involved and you had...
There is no money involved.
Wow. How awesome is that? So you are truly living your passion.
I'm truly living my passion.
How are you?
How are you doing?
What's your story? What's your
I don't really
story?
have a story. I just, hang out.
What do you do for a living?
I work for the University of Memphis.
Do you like it?
I like it. I work with some good people.
If you were a millionaire and you had nothing else to do, would you still wake up doing that because it's your passion?
No.
What would you do to live your passion? If money was not a concern, what would you do every day of your life just because you can?
Probably save animals.
Why aren't you doing that?
I don't know. Because
that is the point. It's a rhetorical question. It's for you to ponder. Why am I not doing that? That's the whole purpose of this documentary. Why aren't you doing that? It's rhetorical. Why? Him. Anybody's not doing that.
He is.
So my thought is, if, not to get religious or spiritual, if God is love, when you do what you love, obviously you become the champion. Make sense? Then prosperity by law becomes a natural response. It's our bullshit, our fear that gets in the way. Because we don't think I can be a florist or play with flowers for a living. If you go tell that to the florist, I can't be a musician artist because I can't, then you come talk to me. So, consider that.
I will, very much. That was very...
She thought it was moving.
It is moving. It is. It's very deep.
How does it motivate you? I mean, I'm a musician, right? An author. That's not the normal way of being productive, but it's working. It's against the odds, so to speak.
Are you doing what you want to do?
What are you doing, man? What's your story?
I am writing software for Windows.
And
I love it, but I like music too.
Are you doing both?
I'm doing both.
Life's good for you?
It's pretty good.
Life's good for the story.
You write songs.
How does that feel?
It feels good.
Makes you feel alive.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Alive.
He's got it. Sit down. Jacob Flowers. Hello. So, let me ask you a question. So, what do you do for a living?
I'm a DJ.
You love what you do?
Absolutely.
And if I made you a millionaire every day, would you just continue to do what you love?
Absolutely.
I will die for you. Climb the highest mountain, baby. There's nothing I would do. Now I found you.
Would you say that Keith is a hardcore rocker?
Yeah. He's just hardcore, period.
So going from that standpoint, how does it feel to be on the stage with, because you're a hardcore rocker, how does it feel to be on the stage with another hardcore rocker who's also so hardcore into the spiritual scene?
Well, I mean, that in that sense, you can actually feel the connection when you're playing. When two or three, I mean, even, and Chris is the same way, you know, when you got people up there playing that are just so connected and just are giving it everything to God, I mean, it's you can feel it. You can close your eyes and feel it. You know what's going to happen, you know, and that's the same way it is with him. When him and I have played together so long, we know what the other person's going to do.
You know, we fall down all the time. And when you start to learn to question everything in your life is when you can truly grow. His book taught me that. I had to go in with a very open mind. If you read his book, it's going to take you on the journey of his life. It's going to take you on the journey of his change. You're going to see what happened to him and why it changed him. And if you go in with an open mind, you're going to read things that you're not going to understand, that you may not want to believe, but it's going to take you on his journey, and you will go on a journey also. And when I came out of that journey is where I went, wow, things aren't the way that I thought they were.
I think it says a lot of things that most people have a hard time saying. I think it has a lot of very deep truths in it, and I think ones that are very difficult for people to swallow. But he seems to express it in a way that makes it a little bit easier to understand and maybe a little bit easier to accept. But it can be very contradictory to a lot of the things that we've been taught as children, and a lot of the things that are being that are more traditional.
He's not really the type that I thought would write such a great book. And he wrote a phenomenal book. And I can see him in his dialogue when he is speaking to the divine. And just, it's absolutely amazing. I mean, it's for a matter of fact, before finishing it, I even started applying some of the stuff like in the clarity chapter or so. And it started changing things in my life. Didn't realize I was putting such a good positive karma out there, but so much positiveness was coming back to me. Offers were coming to me, extra jobs were coming to me. It was just, as I had told Keith before, I was like, I'm not even through your book, and already great love is coming back to me. It was absolutely amazing.
I think it'll be a great gift to so many people, and it's very timely. Especially right now with everything going on, people they're so fearful and they're looking for answers, and they really can't get the answers they need in most of the churches. And so I think it'll help them find the answers within themselves and give them a lot of peace and comfort.
And the fact that Keith is a regular guy, he's a regular guy. And can relate easily to anyone. As he's taken his message out, I think is very significant as well. The economic meltdown of the country continues, and people are afraid, but his message is to look within, don't look without.
Keith, I know there's a lot of things in the writing, the information that was given to you in the Divine Principle that really speaks to our world today. A lot of the world changes, a lot of spiritual trends, a lot of the understanding of God that's growing in our world today. But I just want to ask you, as the writer, the author, what part of the Divine Principle do you believe to be the most relevant to what is taking place in the world today?
I think the most important part, the most relevant, is for people to understand who God is. And in so doing, responsibility falls where it must for things to change accordingly. Responsibility should fall on each person, and that will not happen until everyone takes back their responsibility of divinity. I am creating this experience. You are creating your experience, and together we are co-creating. So basically, it's truly recognizing who God is. If I was to ask you a question to point to God, you would point here. If I was to ask you to point to yourself, you don't point here, you would point here. So now we're looking at the idea that God and yourself is synonymous. And I know that that idea frightens a lot of people, claiming that you're God. People think, well, that's completely arrogant, but it's not. It's actually your obligation, it's your duty, it's an honor to walk with a high vision for yourself that you're willing to take on responsibility for the entire world. And in so doing, what we call God grants you power to make that change, to make that difference. So my path is that if there is a source in the universe, and that source is a divine source, which is love, when I purify myself and align myself with love, I become that very thing. So I think the most relevant question, or the most relevant idea, is to take back our divine authority by recognizing who God is. And I absolutely believe with all my heart that that is ourselves.
It was the gateway that changed the way I think of creation and God. That's what his book's done for me.
To come out with a book saying God is talking to him, I see how it could take, you have to be brave, because some people are going to attack him for this. That God only spoke one time 2,000 years ago to a few people and hasn't spoke since. So I just love his openness. It taught him a lot of lessons to write that book. It taught me lessons when I read it.
It's about opening up. It's about not judging yourself, you know, just to be available to that inner spirit that is creative, your life force.
Passion is the fuel for creativity, and you never run out of fuel when when you're loving what it is you're doing, and just doing what you're loving. You know, it goes in both directions, I think.
To me, I think Lavender Soul, as a group, you know, we all have this connection, and we call it spiritual. We call it this spiritual connection that we have. But because we have that connection, we are able to connect and talk to other people. Mainly, I think, because we feel that the music flows, and I think that's what people are attracted to. And it's not, you know, it's not giving birth to a kid to listen to Lavender Soul, and I'm going to a big extreme there. But it's, you know, you can listen and you can enjoy the way we are talking to each other, and beyond words, we have the notes, and beyond the notes, we have spirit. Here you go.
Blessed, somewhat surprised, excited, motivated, full of fire, scared. Not scared of the message and not scared of the presence. Scared of how my life was going to unfold from that point forth. I mean, what do you do with such things? I could have chose not to walk this path. I mean, I can still be a spiritualist and be quiet. That's not my nature. I wanted to share the joy and the excitement and the life energy that was coming through me for this period. Now it's just a part of my everyday life. I hear God talk all the time, and it's not necessarily in the Moses voice with the burning bush kind of voice. It was never like that for me. Kind words out of someone's mouth is God talking to me. Beautiful sound on a stereo. Sweet smell of a flower. So I hear God all the time. But surprisingly, when I was sleeping and that voice spoke, like I said in, I think, another interview, not only did I hear what it said audibly, I smelled what it said, I tasted what it said, I could feel what it said, I could see what it said. It was in everything around me. I knew the molecules all around me. I knew what they were doing, where they came from, where they were going. It was, I think they call this a supraconscious experience. But now I feel just blessed, and I want to extend that blessing to everyone I come in contact with, provided they want to receive it. We had a gathering today with Lavender Soul for the documentary, and one of the songs that's going to be in the movie is See the Light. Scott, sing your version.
Sing it sad, sing it proud, no more.
Sing it again.
Sing it sad, sing it proud, no more.
Good boy. I think the world is moving to a space of peace. I think we're moving to consciousness. I think that what seems like troubled times is actually a blessing. Yeah, it's a shaky ride, but the ride will eventually stop. I think the world seems to be a little hard-headed to change, but I think change is going to come about regardless. Our head may hurt. We may take a few knocks on the head. But I think the world is starting to catch on to the idea of working together, peace. That war is no good. It has no benefits whatsoever. And I think the world's going to become a very spiritual place very soon.